Hey everybody, Randy Hayes here, coming at you with another fun-filled quick tip for Power App design. In this quick tip video, I'm going to show you how to get an all or choose or any other indicator that you want into a list that you can use in controls, such as drop-downs and combo boxes. You've seen it before where you have to have some sort of selection made, and you don't want one of your actual data choices to be made. You want to let the user know that it's either they're choosing all or they need to choose. So you need something in there as your default. You may have seen similar methods before that use collections. So this tip is going to show you how to do it without a collection. Why? Because maybe your underlying list is a little bit more dynamic and changing, and you don't want to have to constantly rebuild your collection over and over. Or you're just trying to cut down on the overhead of collections in your app. So you're going to see how to do it, and I'm going to show you how right now. But before we jump in, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and the like button so I know you're interested. And feel free to leave comments too down below. So let's get to it.
So we're going to go ahead and create a quick little app here, and we'll just call it the all app, because we're going to be dealing with adding all. And so now that we have our screen up here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in real quickly a data source, and I just happen to have one. We'll just add this PowerApps sample data source and get this all squared away so we have some data to work with. There's nothing special with this. I'll show you the different columns in here. This is just a bunch of sample stuff. There's really nothing exciting about it. Just a variety of text columns, multi-text numbers, just some sample stuff that I use very often when putting together little sample apps or things like that. But what's important here is we're interested in this choice column over here. And this choice has got a couple different choices with it, obviously, because it's named choice. And if we take a look at that, we can see we have a choice 1, choice 2, and choice 3. Pretty simple. And we've got a handful of records in here that have different choices selected for them. So you can see those right there. But let's go back to our app real quick. And now that we have this in place, let's go ahead and insert our gallery in here. And we'll go ahead and bring this in and just resize it a little bit, because I don't really care too much about what's there, but only for the effect of showing you what this is going to do. And we'll go ahead and we'll just throw the title in here. We'll throw a label in here, which is going to be, this is going to be our choice column value. Okay, because it is a choice column. It does have values associated with it. So if we take a look through here and we'll just scroll through this, you can see we've got the different records that we showed over in our data source that are listed in there with the choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. So what do you want to do? The first thing you want to do is you say, okay, I want to be able to filter by that. So you throw a trusty old drop-down in there and you say, okay, let's set this to choices. We'll do PowerApps samples dot choice column, and we say, great, we've got our choices in there. Choice 1, 2, 3. And now we can come down here and we can say we're going to actually filter choice column dot value equals drop down 1 dot selected dot value, and now we have a filter for this. So we can say, great, we get choice 1, we get choice 2, and we get choice 3. So now the next question is, well, what if I want them all? What if I want choice 1, 2, and 3? So here's what happens as we get into that scenario of saying, all right, well, here we were able to do this choices on the Power App samples and the choice column. How do I get that in there? And the traditional answer has been, well, you go into your on start or on your on visible or something like that, and you put in a collection. You create a collection. So we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of simulate that. I'm not going to force the concept here of saying, okay, well, we'll do this on visible or on start, but we'll go ahead and put in here the formula that's traditionally used. You say, okay, we're going to do a clear collect, and we'll say call choices, and we'll say the first piece in there is going to have a value of all. And it's, well, if we do that right, and it's going to be based on the choices of PowerApps samples dot choice column. All right, so just like that, we have that, and I just added it to a button because I didn't want to go through the app on start or the on visible of the form itself. This way we could just sort of demonstrate it right now. And if we click on this, we can go in and take a look, and we see in our collections there's our call choices, and there we have all choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. It's exactly what's defined for that. Now we come in here and we're going to do this, and we say call choices. That's good. It's set to all right now. Now we just need to add this to our filter. So how we do that is we come in here and say, all right, what we want to do is we want to put it in one of our conditions here. We want to say dropdown one.selected.value equals all, and that will be, if the drop-down selected value is equal to all, then this will be true. So knowing about the filters, and this covered in another video, but knowing about the filters, any bit of your criteria that comes after your data source, anything that evaluates to true means that that record will be included in your results. So if our drop-down is set to all, then this is going to be true. If it's not set to all, then we're going to do this comparison here and say, okay, well, is our choice column value equal to the drop-down selected value? And if it is, then that will evaluate to true, which means that record will come back. So if we come in here and we say, all right, there's our choice 3, our choice 1, and finally we say choice all, and now we get all of them. Everything is listed there. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, we of course did that with a button and a clear collect and all that other kind of stuff. And if you've seen any of my videos and seen some of the stuff that I do, I'm pretty much trying to avoid collections and variables as much as possible. And the reason is, it's not because they're not good things, it's because they're overused. And before you know it, you end up with tons and tons of variables and collections, and then you're sitting there spending most of your time trying to figure out, where did I define that? Where was that used? And there's some limited tools for being able to view where things are in your app, but in general, it is rather challenging to try to hunt down where you have defined and used different things within your app. So I like to say, let's keep it super simple. And what we're going to do with this may not seem simple, but it's actually going to be pretty effective. What we're going to do in here is we're going to go and set up a width, because I just happen to like width because I'm a little bit lazy on typing things over and over and over again. And so I know that one of the things I'm going to use in this is going to be the choices of our column, or of our choice column. So rather than type it in over and over, I'm just going to grab it into a local variable. And we're going to use that. So how we're going to get around this, this has always been the thing. It's like, oh, well, can't I do a collect in the items? It's like, no. Collect is something that you can only do in a behavioral statement, like an action, an on select, those types of things. You can't use it in the items. So how do we add a row to our end result, our end items that we're going to have for this dropdown? And how we're going to do that is with the good old for all and the relatively newly introduced sequence. So we're going to say for all and then sequence, and then we're going to count the rows that are in our local choice variable. And you know what? Choices, it should be, because it's plural. Yeah. So we'll set it to choices. So we're going to count the rows, and we're going to add one, because we want an additional row to be added to this. So our choices formula returns a single column table with a column named value. So there's no sense in changing that. We're working with that. It's fine. So we're going to return in our for all a bunch of records, and they're going to be records with a column of value, and now we're going to set that value. So we say if value equals 1, which is our first one, our first in the sequence, then what we're going to do is put an all in here. If it's not 1, if it's greater than 1, then we're going to say we want the last record of the first n, which is the first number of records, of our local choices, and we're going to pick the value. And when we say value in this case, we're referring to the sequence. So whatever number is in the sequence is what's going to be in this value. If we're at sequence number 1, then we're going to get an all. If we're at sequence number 2, then we're going to find the value minus 1 record, which is going to be the first record of our choices, and we're going to grab the value of that. Remember, our choices are based on, our local choice variable is based on choices, which is going to have a value column in it. So we just want to grab that. And that's pretty much all that we want to do here, except for we want to close out our record. So we'll put a curly bracket here. That gives us a full record, which is going to have a value column, and it's either going to be all or it's going to be whatever our choices are listed in there. So let's go ahead and now we'll just close out the for all. And we've already got the width closed out. And you can see automatically down here, our drop-down box is already filled in. We've got exactly what we want. We have an all, choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. And so I can get rid of this clear collect button over here. We can see the functionality works exactly the same way. Everything is just as we had before. The only difference is that at this point in time, we do not have a collection. So we haven't created some new collection that we have to keep up to date with. I mean, obviously, if you could deal with the collection to create it and do it on start and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. It's not a big deal. If you happen to be working with any of your choices in any way, or more specifically, if you're not using choices, if you're using things like distinct, or if you're using a filter to actually filter out your choices that you would have in a drop-down box, then you'd want that to be a little bit more dynamic. So having to refresh your collection over and over and over again anytime you make a change to your data source is a little bit annoying. With this type of solution, if we make any changes to the column that is referenced in here, then it will happen automatically. So to demonstrate that, what we're going to do is just go through here and say, okay, you know what? Let's do the distinct. Okay, so distinct is a function that returns a single column table with results. So the column is going to be called result. And what we're going to do is we'll just do it on the title. Easy enough. So here we're going to do our choices. We didn't change the variable name. It's not that important, so we don't care. But we do need to go down here and say that in this case, now remember this value and this value all refer to the value of the sequence. So what I want to do now is this value is no longer applicable because our local choices does not have a value column in it anymore. It does have a result column. So we'll pick the result column. And at this point, there you see, we have all of our different titles that are in that data source, and we have everything listed in there that we have distinctly. So now it's obviously not going to work very well for our filter here. So if we change our filter and we say title equals drop down selected value, now we get a whole different view of this. So we can say, okay, right now we're looking at all, but if we just look at a record made CCCC, we're just going to see that one, or that one, or that one. And if we go back to all, we can see that's all. Now, why is that significant? To really sort of show the value of this, I'm going to insert down here just a quick icon, and we'll do an add icon. And I'm just going to force a new record. So we're going to do a patch on the PowerApps samples, and we'll say defaults. And we'll go ahead and say the defaults for the PowerApps samples. And we'll put in a title of a brand new record for today. All free today. All right, and that's all we need. I'm pretty sure we only have that required, so that should do pretty well. And we'll go ahead and execute it. So let's do it. We click, so let's just see our list here, because this is going to change. And we see it dropped a little bit, and there's our brand new record for today. But what's most significant about this is if we come in here and we take a look at this, there's our brand new record for today. There were no collections that needed to be refreshed. We didn't have to go back and gather all the information again. It all happened dynamically. So just to kind of emphasize that again, we'll come in here and we'll go to, let's go up here and let's just put in an icon in here to throw this into the trash. And we'll say when this is selected, we'll remove if PowerApps samples ID equals this item dot ID. So we're just going to trash that particular one, that particular record. So let me give a little bit more space here so we can see what's going on. Let's get this icon up here out of the way. Let's bring this list a little bit bigger. Let's drag this up here, and so you know what? Let's do this. Let's do a sort by columns, and we will do that on the title, and that's fine. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, so now if we take a look, we see here's our brand new record for today, and we see in our drop-down list. In fact, you know what? Let's sort that while we're at it, because everything looks better when it's sorted, doesn't it? So in this case, we're just going to come in here, and let's go ahead and do a sort by columns distinct. And remember, this returns a single column of result table, so we're going to sort on that. And let's go out here. Now our all is at the top, just like we want, and our brand new record for today is at the top. And if we delete this one, it's gone. If we come back here, we see it's gone from here too. So it's no longer there. Let's get rid of title 5 just to prove how easy this is. So title 5 is right there. And if we come through here and delete that, title 5 is gone. And we can see that it's gone from this list too. So again, no collections needed. We didn't have any variables. We didn't have any collections. We didn't have anything that needed to be constantly maintained. We did it all very dynamically right off of the data source. I hope you can use this.
What'd you think? Pretty cool, huh? I hope you can use this in your own app. And happy power apping. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video for more to come. See you next time.